I'm Steve Conboy, President and CEO of Eco Building Products. Today, we're at our R&D facility showing you another test of how our DisasterBreak product will revolutionize building defensive against superstorms like Sandy. This product is going to revolutionize how we build houses out of timber, not only in North America, but around the world. Engineering values today need to be protected. Our Eco RedShield product protects wood fiber strength. We protect it against things like rot. We protect it against things like termites. We protect it against mold and fire. But more importantly, when you use our DisasterBreak product, we're protecting that home from things like moisture, mold. We see it growing from the bottom up, because even if it's a roof leak, the water's coming down to the bottom where the building connects to concrete. When we get a disaster like Sandy and we get rising tides, we need to protect buildings up to the bottom of the windowsills with Eco's DisasterBreak products so that that building is waterproof. So when people come back to their homes, because we want them to evacuate, but the cleanup is going to be nothing like they just experienced. Termites. We see termites at the bottom of the building. They crawl out of the ground behind the felt and fabrics and start to destroy wood fiber strength. This demonstration is going to show you the difference of building with just raw lumber and fabrics, allowing the water to get into the building within seconds, versus our building with our DisasterBreak coated underneath the building, up to the bottom of the window, on top of the RedShield protected lumber. So let me show you what this is all about. Our buildings, you've heard me say before, we want to build buildings that are almost like Noah's Ark. What happens to our building is when we build a structure that's so strong that it could float on its own like a boat, the key to what we do is with our caisson technology is we anchor that building to the ground so that the floods don't move the buildings around like we just watched back with Sandy. Buildings were moved a block away in some cases. The other very important part of our technology is the skirt walls, we want them to break away. We don't want pounding surge tides pounding on the structure of our building. This is why we use round caissons that are going to take no resistance as the water is pounding. We're going to anchor the building. We're going to waterproof the building. But first, we're going to start out by protecting the lumber on all 6 sides, so that even when there's a flood, when there's a fire next door, you've seen in our videos, it doesn't mean it has to consume your house. This demonstration will show you that this raw lumber building, we sat in here like a boat. Within minutes, it filled up with water, and it's no longer floating around the way this building with RedShield lumber and our DisasterBreak is. This building is floating around like a boat. Year after year, when disasters show up, if you build properly, before you put your sidings on, your building is as waterproof as a boat. If you build the way we've built all the houses across North America since the housing boom, your building will fill up with water, with your couch and your piano and all your belongings in seconds. We are going to give you a DVD that shows you how to evacuate from your house, because we want you to leave. But within minutes, you can lock your house down. You can shut the gas down. You can turn the electric down. But we're going to give you products so you can waterproof the doors with a caulking so the water doesn't come through the cracks of the doors, because around the building, up to the bottom of the windows, we've already waterproofed it for you. We want to use those fabrics, felt papers and fabrics from the windows up so the wall breathes. But from the window down, they don't work anywhere in the world. They no longer work. It's old technology. Don't build without doing something different from what we've been doing since the housing boom started. We've drywalled one wall. We've insulated the wall. So you're seeing water in there now up against the drywall. In days to come, you're going to see a mold outbreak in that building. Those molds are tough to kill. Your contractor might tell you he can put something on them, but let me tell you something. It's in the plies where the mold lives the contractor can't get to. So the rebuild of houses that got green tagged instead of red tagged, there's other things you need to do to encapsulate things rather than just cleaning what you can see on the surface. This DisasterBreak also can do that for you. When you clean inside a rebuild after a green tag, you need to encapsulate that framing and all those members that are nailed together so that whatever's inside those plies dies because we took away its oxygen source and its moisture source. There's things you can do to be defensive, but you have to start with knowledge of knowing what technologies are available to you in the national supply chain today. We're going to get to the insurance companies. We're going to show them what it's all about. We're not going to just rebuild the same old way. We're going to embrace technologies. We're going to lead the charge teaching people so that they can ask the contractor the right questions. We're here to get the products into the national supply chain for you. We're also here to be your advocate when it comes to talking to insurance companies and your contractor, or the building department, or FEMA, or the government, when it comes to how you're going to rebuild and when you're going to rebuild. So let me show you how this is applied and how it works. You got to start with this protected lumber. Or if you can find another protected lumber, just don't build with raw lumber. The key is whatever protection you use, you want it to be factory applied, not field applied, because it has to be on all 6 sides. The other thing is whatever product you select, make sure you drill down into the test results to make sure that it's code driven instead of just third-party test results because they say it does things. The key is codes dictate how we test products to make claims. You can see it in the liability policy behind the product you select. If the liability policy is low behind a product you select, it's because it didn't have significant test results. Test results are the driver to increase the liability protection for you. Raw lumber gives you no protection, nowhere. If you're going to buy lumber from your contractor, ask him to get a guarantee for 10 years from the lumber company. A lot of the problems with lumber are there before you even get the lumber. It happens in the reloads. It happens in the lumber yards. The termites attack it. The mold attack it. The rot sets in. Don't forget, 5% of rot is equal to 80% engineering loss. If we're designing buildings that can handle 165-mile-an-hour wind loads because we're attaching hardware from Simpson and others that support uplift in lateral loading, you need the wood fiber strength to be there forever. It can't happen with raw lumber. So let me show you about this DisasterBreak. Rather than applying paper, we're saying you can roll this on, spray it on, but get it up above the windowsill. Then when you apply your fabric so the building can breathe, you want to come down over the top of it and then set your window like we normally do. But the key to this, it's like the bottom of a boat. You want to do it right this time. You want to do it right even if we're rebuilding in Arizona. We can't keep using the same building practices because all the mold litigation claims are hidden under radar that are explosive everywhere. When are architects and engineers going to protect wood fiber strength and most of all, the people that live in the house? It becomes a social responsibility when you know the technology is available, but to keep building buildings the same old way. At ECO, we're not going to do it. We're going to educate you. We're going to bring you the products cost effective. We're going to put them in the national supply chain. But the key is that you have the knowledge to ask the right questions. Whether you're building a house or you're buying a house, you need to know what to ask ahead of time. You can find a report from us on our buildersupport.com site. We're going to give you a report so that you can ask the builder of that production home the right questions before you buy the home. When you're rebuilding and your contractor's an expert or it's your cousin, it doesn't matter, let them rebuild it. But you be the driver of technology and insist that you want these technologies. We want to just make sure you know the right questions to ask. And if there's another product out there, we want you to use it. Just don't build with raw lumber. Even with the plumbing penetrations, we waterproof them so the water can't bubble up. There's certain ways to do that. We're going to show you how to do that. We've shown you in other videos. We're going to continue to show you. As you watch this building float around like a boat, just remember, we're going to secure this. with anchoring system is this 6,000-pound PSI concrete and caisson technology. But when we use anchors, we're going to anchor the anchors into 30F glulam beams, not some 1.5 2x12 or 1/2-inch plywood. We're going to through bolt into steel anchors to make sure this building isn't going to float like a boat. We're going to do everything we can to anchor your building against the next superstorm, but we're going to start out with professionals like soils engineers, and then we're going to bring engineers that support 165-mile-an-hour wind loads. And it's got to be quality control driven. No more accepting what we used to build, accepting just nails to fasten and hold buildings together. There's a lot of anchors that are going on here. But let me tell you one thing. Don't be afraid that this technology is going to cost you an increased brick and mortar so you don't get to rebuild. You get a hold of us. We're going to be the advocates, going to show you how to do it cost effective so that it doesn't keep you from rebuilding. So let me tell you how we're going to anchor these buildings to concrete. We're going to start with these caissons with a steel cage in them. We then pour in 6,000-pound concrete, PSI with certificates. The certificates are important to support our engineering from the ground up. We then anchor in these steel anchors and we push them into the caissons to make sure that when the rising tide comes, our buildings are bolted to a 30F beam and that rising tide is not going to lift this building. And it's with connections like this that go into our hurricane breakaway platform that are going to make a difference. It's not about going 9 feet. 9 feet actually undermines high lateral loads. The higher you go, the harder it is to deliver those high wind loads. We believe 4 feet out of the ground, 1 foot of underpinning, then we go window set 3.5 feet off the ground, giving you 8.5 feet out of the ground waterproof. The technology is available for you. The engineering is available for you. Whoever your architect is, have the architect design your home. Get to us. We're going to support you in the engineering. We can at least let your architect know how to build your house defensive against the next superstorm. I'm Steve Conboy, President and CEO of Eco Building Products. Look for our videos. They're going to be very informative to you so you can ask the right questions. Thank you.